The title of this video is Stimulating Student Thinking Using Bloom's Taxonomy. If a teacher wants children to think at lower levels, that is, responding with correct answers, he or she asks a question aimed at the recall of right answers. We call this a knowledge level question. The second type of lower level thought has to do with showing an understanding of a concept. We call this type of question a comprehension level question. At the third level, students seek to apply or relate the concept to their own lives. We call this the application level question. At level 4, questions are aimed at higher order thinking. In other words, children have to think deeper and longer, and there may be more than one good answer. At level 4, students are asked to compare and or conclude. We call this an analysis level question. More higher order thinking occurs at level 5. The students are asked to create something new, brainstorm, predict, or problem solve. We call this a synthesis level question. The highest level of thinking is level 6. Students make judgments about what is most or least effective. It is called the evaluation level question.
Do I plan for higher order critical thinking? And I've had teachers tell me young children can't think critically. Well, I beg to differ. Let's take the story of abuela, grandma in Spanish. And of course, abuela takes her granddaughter and they fly all around the town looking at all the sights. Now, we can ask who the characters were and what happened in the story. That's all low level and that's good. But we can ask questions at a higher order. For example, probably the most important critical thinking skill we can teach young children is comparing. And by the way, a really good comparing activity, take 4 objects. 3 are the same, 1 is different. Put them on a table and have kids sit around and observe the 4 objects closely for similarities and differences to really sharpen their skills. A comparing question for abuela might be, how is abuela like your relatives? How is she different? So for prediction, what would you do differently if you could fly? And the highest level of thinking, judging, what was the most fun thing abuela and her granddaughter did together? And why was it fun? That why question, always very important. Other critical thinking ideas, comparing different versions of the same book. How many of you have read several versions of Gingerbread Man? And then compare the similarities and differences. Or in a book like Do You Want to Be My Friend, where the tail of the animal is shown. Okay? And then the full picture appears on the next page. This is a wonderful book for children to do a rewrite of, where they draw their own tails and their own animals. It's a wonderful critical thinking activity. And don't forget scaffolding, folks. When you ask questions, kind of stretch kids a little bit. Something like, can you tell me more? Give me an example. Who agrees? Who disagrees? Why do you feel that way? I'm in this 2nd grade class. The teacher's talking about day and night. And she says to the children, boys and girls, how do changes in day and night affect birds? Now there's wait time because you have to give them time to think. The little boy raises his hand and he says, well, when it's dark on this side of the world, birds fly to the other side of the world, where it's light. And then when it gets dark there, they fly back. Now, the teacher scaffolds. She says to the class, boys and girls, who agrees with him? And this one little boy raises his hand and says, no. He's thinking of birds fly south when the weather gets cold. So he's thinking they would fly to light when it gets dark. But they can't fly. They can't fly all that. Thank goodness for that kid. You know? They can't fly all that way. So that's a good example of scaffolding. Anybody else might have said, okay, good, and move on with the wrong answer, right? Getting kids to think and talk.